Yeah. I said, yeah. I said, yeah. Can I get some motherfucking echo? I said, yeah. We are back in the building, baby. You know what it is. It's UNRAP.
That was kind of creepy.
Yes, creepy. That's what we do. Back at it. I hope y'all ready. I said, I hope y'all ready.
We ready.
Oh, that didn't sound like anybody was ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, fuck it.
Let's go.
All right, fuck it. I said, all right, fuck it. Can we get some music? What the fuck is going on? It won't let me turn on shit.
It wouldn't be right.
Yeah, it wouldn't be right if we didn't have some technical difficulties, and of course we do.
It's spooky.
And look.
Oh, now we're at the
tables.
Look at that. But it's kind of appropriate.
We sitting at the table. I don't know what's going on. We are having some real issues here right now. But it's all right.
There we are.
Woo, that was close. All right. We are in the building.
We are here.
Thank you for that awesome, sinister ass introduction. I think I like it like that.
That was pretty creepy.
All right, so you know what this is, man. This is the UNRAP the podcast. I am your host, Heat Detector, the glorious one. Well, that's what I like to call myself. Since no one wants to call me, nobody wants to call me any, super duper names and shit. So I just decided to make myself the glorious one.
That's it. That's fuck it. The glorious one.
And I have my illustrious co-hosts.
Yes.
As you know,
I am
Naj Vino. Now, see, you talk about me, but I was calling you Naj Vino for a minute, and all of a sudden, it turned into the Naj Vino. Not to be mistaken for the other Naj Vino.
I don't even know where the fuck that came from, but it works.
Right, the Naj Vino. Got you. And of course, excuse me, we have our resident hacker, the engineer, is in the building. Or is he in the building? We don't know.
What's going on? I'm in the building. I'm in somebody's building.
And we actually got somebody else sitting in the studio with us today.
We do.
We got DJ Protocol in the building from Beats Cafe. Can we get something from that guy? Is he here? You in the building, bro?
Welcome.
In the building. DJ Protocol. All right. Enough with the fuckery. Well, listen, I called this show the Redemption Show. And that's for a reason. The guest we have on tonight, this is not redemption for him. This is redemption for us.
Yeah.
Because you fucked up.
Oh.
You fucked up. Yeah, you fucked up. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I said, hey, let's interview BOBROK, and I was like, man, he's amazing and everything, and you were like, yeah, cool, but let's just record it and put it to the side. And I was like, what? And I said to myself, well, we can't do that. And you was like, yo, well, we'll put it on after. We'll just get it done Saturday. And I said, well, I don't know if you don't remember.
I had the plague.
Well, either way, this is a redemption show. So, this ain't the first time BOBROK has been interviewed, but we have to redeem ourselves.
I was real.
So I'm gonna tell you right now. Can I get some echo or something? Can I get a little something? Because
I got you.
Okay. This is the redemption show. We gotta make good on this shit.
We do. We owe him this.
BOBROK is in the motherfucking building. Let me get some.
But
Yeah.
But actually now though, this is better because this is real prestigious, real professional. You know what I'm saying?
It's prestigious and professional.
We shit shaking around here. You know what I'm saying?
Shit's going down.
Going down.
Okay. All right. Well, then why don't you go ahead and I'm gonna sit back and let me see what you got. Since you gotta redeem yourself, why don't you go ahead?
I can't even believe you put me on the spot like this and it said I fucked. Like, how did I?
No, come on, man. We gotta guess. We can't just be talking about you all damn night.
You see. I told you already. I was emotional and I was in my feelings about Snowfall. You know what I'm saying? And you just gonna hit me with this shit?
Summer says double echo. Yeah, that's done on purpose. Can I get an echo right now? Summer.
Hey, okay.
It's on purpose. Thank you.
Can you introduce him with the trailer man voice?
And now, introducing Chicago's very own BOBROK.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you for having
So,
me.
as you may or may not have heard, this is the Redemption Show.
It is.
The Redemption Show.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
Because of my co-host, for some reason, I'll let her explain it. I'm gonna fix the camera, so I want to make sure it gets zoomed in on her.
I don't even know what the fuck I'm explaining. Honestly, I mean, shit. My bad.
I just want to say, when you tinker around with stuff for long enough, these things happen.
It's what?
It's an inevitability, just like technical difficulties or like losing a hard drive or like
tinkering,
especially you guys were more in the beginning stages of it, so I think you guys were still kind of figuring out what it was going to be. So
well, no, we'll let her speak for herself. I was not in the beginning of anything. I was all in, feet first.
I want you to take an express train to hell.
Whose phone is that?
An express train.
See what I'm saying? Like, even though he calls us professional now, you call us professional now. We got people here in the building right now that are unprofessional and have their phones on.
I don't know. I feel like we should just like maybe take 2 minutes and just cuss violently, or maybe not. I don't know.
That's how you redeem yourself.
I don't know. Sorry, I just.
E. Johnson says, "What up? What up? What up, E. Johnson?" One of our loyal watchers, man. Shout out to E. Johnson, man. We got to get people out there to listen to his hip hop show or his DJ show that he does every Saturday night.
Bob, what you got in the cup? I know you love coffee. What kind of coffee you drinking?
I'm drinking a coffee that's called is it Unicorn? Damn it.
See,
it's actually two friends of mine.
Right. Well, this is what happens when I leave her in charge.
Who...
Pardon me, sir. This is what happens when I leave her in charge. Can we get him to introduce himself to people?
He loves coffee, and so do I. I'm sorry. I wanted to know what was in the cup.
Before anybody else even knows who in the fuck we're talking to or get into a conversation, you got to at least let the guy say, "Hey, I'm BOBROK. I fucking rap, I sing, I dance to pay for school tuition and all that."
First of all these sons of bitches should know who he is because he's Bob fucking Rock. But you know what? You're right. You go ahead.
Rock.
Tell the people who you are.
Absolutely. BOBROK. I rap a lot. I'm also a member of Green Lights Music, which is a band that I'm in, and we're just about to release an album called Solid Gold Gravy.
Solid Gold Gravy, like the name.
Yes, sir. So really excited about that. We're going to play at Reggie's in May, and I'm starting to work on some stuff, some new stuff, some new solo shit, and so that's it.
What type of music are we talking about on this Solid Gold Gravy? With a name like that, it better be some real thick funk.
It's definitely very funky. Yeah.
All right.
Definitely very funky. And
first of all, in this case, Mr. Rock, Mr. Rock. When you're gonna reference funk, you can't say it's definitely funky. You have to say it's funky.
You're such an asshole.
It's
funky.
It's funky.
There you go. Can we get a round of applause? Yeah, there we go. Definitely, Solid Gold Gravy is funky.
And then you also neglected to point out that you are technically a community activist. So probably shouldn't skate past that.
I don't think of myself as a community activist. I think of myself as an active community member.
Love it.
Oh.
Love it.
Oh.
Love it.
All this goddamn woke talk. I can't stand it. What do you go by? He, she, she, them, they, sky, blue, couch, sofa.
You're teetering on ignorant.
I know. I teeter on ignorant quite often. So don't worry. We're not here to offend anybody, by the way.
I think
and by the way,
yeah.
Go ahead. I was just going to say disclaimer.
No, please, first your disclaimer. That'll cover my ass.
Yeah, there you go. By the way, people, we are not here to insult, down, belittle, or demean anyone on this show. This is pure entertainment. Please do not come at us respectfully. We're here for entertainment. And if your ears are that soft, you're watching and listening to the wrong shit anyway. Okay. Thank you very much. And goodbye if your feelings are hurt. All right. Go ahead, man. Your ass is covered.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I made that weird distinction because I think that ownership makes us feel like we're kind of off the hook as long as all of our bills are paid, type of stuff. But we really, all of us, have a collective duty to participate in the places where we live and to be kind of like members of that community. And it doesn't even, it's not even like a rec center type of thing, but more that there are things that you can't pay with money, but that you can pay with your time or with being mindful about it. And I think that the distinction is, I don't know if I'm necessarily ever supporting any like one candidate or party or anything, but just that the most vulnerable among us deserve some thought and some help every once in a while, or at the very least to participate in exercises that will help people get the resources that they need. I'm very grateful for my life right now and where I am. And I feel like once you reach a certain point, you have to start thinking about like the stability, where the stability comes from. And I've never, ever done anything alone, you know?
Good shit, man. I can totally understand that 100%. And I think to piggyback off that too, you know, I think people should also have a little bit of accountability and empathy, you know, just in everyday life. You know what I'm saying? And that's just my thoughts on that. God damn, you just put a somber note and you just put a little wet blanket on the party right there. Damn, it got serious for a second, man.
I mean, just push it in perspective. It's true.
No, it's very true. It's very true. And you say you're active. What did you say? You didn't say you're an activist. You said you're active in your community. Is that right?
Yeah, I just call it nosy.
Nosy in the community.
There's like if we think about like the places where we live, like there's money that's allocated to go into these places. You know what I mean? Like everything that you see around you is owned by somebody, and anything that's owned by the public is essentially being funded by your tax dollars. So like there's a lot of resources there that are either being utilized or squandered. And I want to know, because when shit pops off, it's not as simple as an isolated incident, but I think more of it like a city's a living thing, you know, especially Chicago.
Right. And so you're originally from Chicago, right?
Well, I was born in Evanston, and then we moved to Chicago when I was like 2-3 years old, and then I lived here in Rogers Park until I was like 10, and then I moved to the suburbs until I was like 18, and then I moved back into the city pretty much right away.
So you're a suburban kid? Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, absolutely.
He said, no shame in that. Shouldn't be, at least. Well, anyways, the suburbs in Chicago, I mean, that might as well be Chicago anyways.
It spreads.
Yeah, it's
not all of them, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely some interesting parallels to where, for me, moving into the suburbs is like moving into a John Hughes movie.
Yeah, right.
It was
Pretty
like
in Pink.
The real Breakfast Club, the real Pretty in Pink. But
right.
like the kind of the messed up part of that is that
right.
Like I remember we would go party at this girl's house who had like a mansion. She lived like in a mansion in Glenview, and my friend was dating her, so we'd go to her mansion and we'd hang out all the time. And her parents were doctors, but they were like really well off, and they would travel most of the year, just like travel around the world. So she was basically just home alone with the like staff of people who were maintaining the house.
Right.
And again, to me, that's like just like only wealth that existed in movies. I've never seen anything like that up close. But I remember just thinking like when nobody was paying attention, just kind of how sad she was, and like
right.
kind of not like that must have been such a lonely existence, even though theoretically she had like everything and more, like in a level of abundance that most of us are not aware of. But it kind of just
right.
gave me the thing that like, fuck, I mean, rich people are kind of troubled too.
Everybody's troubled, man. Every
yeah.
Show me the person that doesn't have any troubles in their life, and I'll show you that you are a lying motherfucker. So tell me something, man. What was the beginning of your journey into like hip hop and the whole culture?
Definitely my older brother. He was into hip hop at a young age and turned me on to it a lot and kind of explained a lot of stuff to me. He shared his tapes and just let me tag along with him, where he would go either skate or just go break somewhere, or even tag a little bit, but I never went with him when he'd go do that because he didn't want I was too young
right.
to keep up with whatever him and his friends were doing. But definitely like turned me on to the culture at a young age. And I think one thing that you kind of notice, like that there's a bridge, and I kind of put this together, but it's like rappers in the 90s, like they like they're almost like frat boys in the sense that like they kind of sit around all day, like smoking weed and eating cereal and watching like TV, and like and that wasn't too far from what I was doing. So it was like, as a kid, you're kind of like, oh, that's like, yeah, these guys get it. Like there's sort of like like baked into it, like this like professional slacker lifestyle. And I think that's what kind of always spoke to me, because I don't know if I have a problem with authority, but I have like a problem with authoritarianism and people who like fascism more so than like, I don't care if whoever's in charge. That doesn't bother me. I'm not like, I don't like go after people because they're in charge, but like people who try to control everything, they're fucking dorks. And like hip hop didn't feel that way. It didn't feel like, it was the opposite. It was like kind of do what you want, no control, have at it.
I find it interesting that when we all right. I find it interesting though that when we do talk to a lot of MCs or producers or whatever, everybody's always got kind of like the same track of how they got into it. It was either an uncle, an older brother,
somebody shared them,
an older cousin. They're like, oh, my cousin used to come over and he used to always have these tapes, and I used to steal his tapes, and then my mom wouldn't let me listen to him, and then I'd listen to him and sneaky in the room, and I always thought like, it's always like the same kind of story, you know what I mean, for everybody. You know what I mean? Or they were, or like in my case, I didn't have anybody, but it was just more like I was up late one night, and that was what the rap show was on, but it was always on when I had to be asleep. And I was just up and I heard the shit and I was like, what the fuck is that? And I was hooked from that point.
I think that was the beauty of hip hop back then, though. It was kind of like a secret. It was taboo almost.
Yeah. Yeah. And
well, also like, yeah, well, I was going to say, like, yeah, remember the box?
Yeah. We hear that so much on this show. Everybody and their mama says, you remember the box.
I think the reason that I bring that up is like, if you were a kid that had cable, you probably wouldn't watch the box. Like you might watch MTV or something.
Right.
Nah, I had cable. I was watching that shit. I was watching the box like a motherfucker.
But I watched the box a lot, and then also New York Undercover.
Oh man.
The what? This guy.
New York Undercover. With,
oh yeah, New York Undercover.
That shit
Malik Yoba.
So
because the soundtrack on that was always incredible.
It's
it was
on
just like
something now, and I was watching
it's not the same.
No, well, yeah, it is. I was watching it a couple months ago, and like I still get those same feelings. Like,
yeah, but that's nostalgia. That's different.
It doesn't matter though. Like
whenever they try to bring back shows like that,
no, they're not bringing it back.
It's
reruns.
They were showing the reruns.
Yeah, it's reruns.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like,
but again,
I still feel that same feeling.
Yeah,
you know, those performances.
When you're a kid and you're watching it, and the music just blows everything else out of the water every week. Not only would you watch it to watch it, because I think it was also like a pretty well written show, but it was like, who is that?
And the fashion.
As soon as they would play that, and then it would blow up.
So what was it? New York Undercover. New
York Undercover, the box. And then I mean, I'd watch MTV at my grandparents' house on the weekend sometimes, but like otherwise,
MTV in his grandparents'
it was so structured though. Like when you think about it, like that shit was like super like just deliberate. You know, like the box was kind of free and you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you could see pumps in the bumps and all that kind of shit. You weren't seeing that shit on MTV.
So I got a question for you, Bob. Go ahead.
Okay. A lot of live crew. A lot of live crew.
but also for like long stretches they would play a lot of the same videos, so then you know you would that's how you'd memorize songs, and then you get more into it.
Okay, so when did you first start rapping? Like what was your first song, first shit you ever wrote that you felt like, okay, I think I can do this?
Man, so at some point, I moved into Pilsen with a couple of friends of mine, and I would start going to this open mic that was in the neighborhood, and I would just kind of like freestyle with the band. And since I didn't know one single person there, it felt kind of like I could do it. Like I didn't have too many reservations about it because I didn't know anybody, so I didn't really care. And I think that I was kind of like, okay, that's kind of okay. And then hanging out there every week, I would start meeting people that would be like regulars there. And a couple of guys, one, my friend Andy, aka Scapegoat, he would host us after the open mic a lot at his place, which was a couple blocks away from there. And then we'd like smoke blunts and he'd play records and we'd like do ciphers all night. And then just kind of keeping that in my head, I started just writing songs, just kind of like just writing verses really. And then realizing that the hook kind of ties songs together. And so then I started writing more songs, and at one point my friend and sort of my mentor about this stuff, D-Nick, the microphone misfit, he started coming to the mics, so I was kind of like vibing with him a lot, and he actually was like passing out CDs and like selling CDs at the mic. And to me at that time, which it was like 2006, 2007, like that was like showing a caveman a lighter. I mean, I was just like, I can't believe this guy has CDs. Like, that's crazy. And they look like completely legit. So, like, from me, who was like still just writing ideas in their notebook, it's a huge leap. But, you know, they worked with me at the mic and I started just performing more. And then I started performing what I was writing. And then that guy, Andy, Scapegoat, and we started working on stuff. And honestly, from there, it just became like something that I would do every single day. It was just like something that I really couldn't stop thinking about. I'd be looking for beats all the time. I'd be listening to music all the time. It just went way up after that. Like, it just got way more important.
Interesting. What was your first rap name?
Red Lunar Earth, which is my Mayan.
Wait. Damn. Wait 1 motherfucking minute.
Deep.
That was a little too deep for rap. Red Lunar Earth.
Yes, sir.
How do you even? I'm Red Lunar Earth, and like what? How do you even put that?
Yeah,
in a
see
song?
that there you go. That's the hardest part. It was doomed.
Where'd that come from? Like what does that mean to you?
It's my Mayan dream spell symbol, which is kind of like you're basically where I fall on the Mayan calendar.
Really?
Interesting. So you're BOBROK, aka Red Lunar Earth.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I love red, man. Like, I don't know. I really love the color red. I have my favorite pair of Chucks is red. I without even before that, like before discovering that, I just discovered that I really love red a lot.
Well, you'll be happy to know that right about now, we're about 50-50 right now. 50% of the people we interview tell us what their original rap name was, and the other 50% say, fuck you, I'm never uttering that shit in public to anybody. And I would have thought with the name Red Lunar Earth that you would be like, nah, sorry, can't, nope, not gonna tell it.
That's pretty fucking dope though. Like the yeah. Okay, so do you remember your very first rhyme?
No.
Get the fuck out of here. That's the shit I don't
really
believe.
Wait a minute, what the hell?
Yeah, see, that's the shit I don't believe. Can we get that one more time?
I really don't.
Wait a minute, what the hell?
Exactly.
Do you
Especially
remember?
because here's the reason that I really I'm the type of guy who would always be walking around with a notebook. I wrote shit down because I didn't have a great memory unless like I needed to memorize it for like a reason that like, and then like after a while, like a show, and then after a while you lose enough notebooks that you're like, I need to find a different system to do this shit.
Yeah.
So if you can't remember shit, how in the fuck were you doing? What were you doing in Second City?
What do you mean?
That's different.
Because it's all improv?
Yeah.
Well,
improv's a little bit more on the fly.
I'm pretty sure he adapted.
Right.
I just don't believe that he doesn't remember his first song. What about your second song? You remember it?
Oh no, my first song is the first song off of my album. That honestly, like those first 10 songs, those are the first 10 songs that I wrote. I wrote a bunch of verses like kind of leading up to that to just kind of like try to get myself there. And but those were like the songs that are like, oh, this is a song, this is the structure of a song, this is the breakdown, like this is my new understanding.
No. We want to hear that first verse that you ever wrote that you was like, I think I could probably do this one tomorrow night. Yeah.
Well, okay.
I didn't have that kind of hubris. I wasn't thinking in terms of that. I'm not that wasn't me. I was really in my head a lot about it for a long time.
Do you remember?
In fact, the first couple times that I performed, like when I was like trying to perform stuff that I had written, I had to like turn my back to the audience because I couldn't handle it. Which is strange because like when I performed just with a band, just freestyling again in a room full of strangers when nobody knew me at all, that was like I didn't care. I could just do that. But when when you start to turn on like okay, now people are starting to know me, and this is like getting more real, not just freestyles over a band, but like songs and beats that you've been working on all week, and that kind of takes it up a notch.
How was that for you? Like, when did you realize within yourself that, oh shit, like this might be some shit, like I might be a big deal?
When I think it dawns on you when you're kind of around other people that are doing it, and you're sticking out for that reason. And again, I wasn't the type of guy who was like braggy, or I've just never been that guy. But like, I have always had like a close relationship with music and performance. When I was a kid, I was in the Chicago Children's Choir for a couple of years. So I learned a lot about timing and breath control, and those skills just were there for me when I started rapping, and I realized like, oh shit, like there I have like a natural timing. I can actually stay on beat. I can do this. I can actually fucking, like, I have a shot at doing this. And then you don't meet a lot of people who, like, you don't meet a lot of people who can also write hooks, or people that are even curious about like I kind of was the kind of guy that I needed to close the circle. So when I'm seeing my friend passing out CDs, I'm the type of guy that was like, how did you make a CD? Where do you go to do that? Oh, okay. Like, and then just like figuring out how to do that. And, as years pass, where I started with this, the philosophy of the slacker, people kind of mature out of that, right? They get a job, they move, they get married, they have kids, whatever. Like, a lot of people just stop doing it. And I just never stopped doing it. It never quieted down for me. It just kept getting more and more serious.
Where would you say you're at now with it? When you say it got more serious, where would you say you're at with it now?
I'd say
on a level of 1 to 10, on a level of 1 to 10, 1 being a slacker, and 10 being, hey, I'm taking this all the way.
Yeah.
So you're at 10.
But what is that tied to?
It applies to whatever taking it all the way is to you.
Absolutely, like, I work on this shit every single day. Like, I'm like sitting here writing, practicing, performing. I was just at a rehearsal yesterday. Like, I'm either getting ready to do shows or also taking the culture in. I just got to see a really great show on Wednesday, and I was just kind of like, it's funny, sometimes you're the oldest person in the room, but like, there is a lot of kids there that are younger, and by kids I just mean they're in their 20s. They're in like the very early 20s, and they're kind of at where I was when I started doing open mics years ago.
Right.
And you can look at them and you can kind of see that they're terrified, or that they're still rapping over their own vocals, or they're rapping over a beat that's not theirs. And, it's just like they're still in a very romantic part of it. Yeah, I was kind of envious, but then these 2 other very polished rappers started performing, and I was just like floored. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is fucking awesome. And they were like confused, because they're like, what? Like, what is this? Because they didn't.
What is this polished?
Their perception is also
material I'm seeing. Yeah,
because also, like, people who are really wordy, they're like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that's kind of more our thing.
Right.
Is it scary? Is it scary to you to know that you're potentially the catalyst for one of these young people thinking about, like, dedicating their life to really trying to be a hip hop artist?
I mean, I hope so.
Right.
I think it's part of, I think it's part of it. Somebody taught me how to do this shit, and I would gladly teach somebody else who I saw that same potential in. I would try to help them out and steer them in the right direction.
I agree with that 100%. It's like one that I've learned throughout the years of doing music and being a rapper and producer and engineer, all that stupid shit, that the biggest fucking feeling that I get, the biggest emotional and happiness and butterflies and all that shit is when I find an artist or someone who really wants to fucking learn, and they're like, can you teach me, or that, you know what I mean? And that's like to watch them grow, just to watch them grow and sit back and be like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Because you always see something in somebody. And that's one of the things I can say about you. When I met you some years back, I was completely blown away, 100%. Because here's this guy, he's humble as hell. And then like somebody else is like, yeah, he raps, he's dope as fuck. And I'm kind of looking at him and I'm like, I don't know, maybe, you know, we'll have to see. And I heard you flow and I'm like, yeah, he's got bars. But then I saw you perform and you knocked my motherfucking socks off. You and DJ Mar, the synchronicity. Shout out to DJ Mar, Revolver Records, rest in peace. But just the way you guys performed together, I was like, what the fuck? I have got to work with this guy. 100%. And the rest is history, because guess what? Guess what I got? Can we turn that Bluetooth up real quick? The Bluetooth, sir.
Oh, shit.
It should be playing, sir. Bluetooth.
Getting some tooth action.
Bluetooth
should be playing. Turn it up. Yes.
I turned it up.
Turn it up, sir.
Uh-oh.
I wonder who is on this song. I wonder who is on this song.
Shout out to Skip Rock.
Yeah, shout out to Skip Rock. Hold on, that's the wrong version. That's the instrumental. My bad. Let me. My bad. I believe this is the right one. Let's try that one more time. See, my whole surprise and everything just got thrown out the fucking window. Because I just remembered, you say something in the very beginning. He was like, Bob rocking this motherfucker. Hold on. No. Hold on. All right, start a conversation and I'll find it. I'll find it. Hold on. I have to go. I'm going through my email right now. So
the artist that you are now, are you what you envisioned when you were a kid?
Well, yeah. I mean, it kind of looks different, right? Because I think part of it is sort of one of the main philosophies is a little bit kind of like envisioning yourself in this place that you're aspiring to get to, while at the same time you're the median of whatever of like if you're the person, if you're the artist, then like people have to kind of understand who you are and what you're about in order to give a shit about you in the first place. And I think that is a hard lesson to learn, because especially when you're starting out, you feel almost entitled to the attention and the praise that like you absolutely haven't earned. Like I like that kid that I'm thinking about from 10 years ago, or man, it's been even more than 10 years ago. But thinking about that kid is like, definitely when you start reaching new plateaus, you realize that it first of all, there's a ton more work to do all the time. But then second, kind of like you reach those like strange plateaus and nothing really changes. So like you got to keep working for it all the time, every single day. And that means promoting yourself. That means working on music. That means trying to book new shows. That means rehearsing your shit, you know, and also I work full time as well. So I'm kind of like balancing between the two all the time.
I think that's the difference between when, you know, when you first start out, where all the ugly, the gritty stuff that's work. That's the nasty part of it, the shit that you don't want to do. But then once you kind of mature in the game and you truly become an artist, you know, that's just part of it. You know, you can't have the glory without the grit.
Yeah, I think when I was in my 20s, like the partying is like a big part of it. It's like almost like punk rock. Like I would be performing at these like venues that are like either people's straight up apartment or like at like these, and they'd have like 4 bands and then it gets shut down halfway, or like, you know, like we're performing in these courtyards or performing at these punk collectives, which were like at abandoned warehouses where they would just be like basically, yeah, exactly, and like just earning your keep. And when you're at that point, you're not really thinking about anything else. Like I really didn't give a shit. Like that's all I wanted to do, and I was like, whatever day job I have to maintain this lifestyle that I thought of, like that, then I'm all for it. And like how expensive is, you know, like a 12er of Modelo and like a notebook or something, like, you know, like when you're really living the lifestyle, you have a lot of time to sit around and think. So you better be like working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Or getting really toasted, like that's what made sense at the time. But like now I'm like, I like drink coffee in the morning and I'm like setting up meetings on my Outlook calendar for my clients of my day job. And then I like take a break and then sit down and write for an hour. And I'm just like, you know, whatever I can do, I just write for 1 hour and then I feel kind of satisfied with it. And I go back to my other job. And then in the afternoon, I'll try to record whatever it is that I wrote. And then, or maybe go back to another verse that I worked on the day before and like start revising it, moving shit around or changing things. And then by the end of the week, hopefully I have a new song. And like, it's more, I have so much more patience now, you know, patience that I didn't have when I was younger, because I couldn't think of it in individual steps. I needed like everything to happen now, because when you're a kid, you're like so impatient. You want everything right away.
That's important. Like really. What color is hip hop to you and why?
What color?
Mm-hmm.
How do you mean?
I don't know. What color is it?
What color? It's like, I mean, like the wildest color. It's like mustard yellow type. It's like macaroni and cheese yellow type. It's
interesting.
Like, it's big. It's bright. It's like you can't look away. Like it's beautiful like a flower, but then also it's just like a car.
Burn your eyes and shit.
Whoa. that to me is the paradox of it all the time.
I wanted to ask you that the last time when we interviewed you, and I didn't get around to it because the conversation was it was intense and there just wasn't any room for it. I just was very interested to know what you would say. I like that answer. Maestro, did you find it?
Oh man, I had to dig and dig and dig and dig, but I found that shit. We're just gonna give it a quick listen. Shout out to Skid Rock, man.
Skid.
Shout out to Heat Detector for that track.
100%.
Holding Chicago down 24/7. When
When I was young, cigarettes were dirt cheap and $200 at the end of your work week. When I was young, comic books were $2. Found a JJ Peppers with a lighter and 2 blunts. When I was young, reading books was an option. The phone was attached to the wall at your mom's place. Listening till I'm making out with your prom date. Praying to God that we didn't pick the wrong day. When I was young, everybody rented videos. Else we fell into giant bowls of cereal. When I was young, weed from the janitor and pat the shit down like we're sliding down the banister. When I was young, used to cop cassettes, fixing shit with the pencil to jam the deck. When I was young, my elbow spoke Spanish, a young brown Hogan, free of dirty habits. When I was young, nobody really rhymed. Biggie Small was a GOAT, Michael Jordan in his prime. When I was young, everything made sense. My ads said mistakes and my mother made rent.
Goddamn right.
Shout out to Bob. We get a
crazy
motherfucking applause for that. I'm gonna have to send that to you.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Man, I forgot that I wrote all that.
Yeah, well, I didn't write it. Yeah, that was. I remember that night. It was actually in the afternoon. I remember that afternoon pretty vividly, man. It was pretty dope. You were pretty
a lot of good coffee.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're pretty jizzed up on coffee. Yeah,
coffee is delicious.
Yeah.
100%.
So you never answered my question.
Okay, what's your question?
1 to 10, and 1 being a slacker, and 10 being reaching your highest goal. Where would you say you're at in that scale?
Well, hold on a second though, because like you gotta live the life. If you're going to peddle a philosophy to kids or otherwise, or pass yourself off as something, you need to be living that shit. And my whole thing is the things that I'm talking about in my music, I'm living it and or I'm striving to share an idea in a new way that people can kind of play with and appreciate over and over again, by either because they don't get it the first time or because they got it right away and they just appreciate the writing. So like I'm at a 10 because I'm firing on all cylinders right now. I'm busy doing shit that I really enjoy. I'm collaborating with people who a couple of years ago I would never dreamt of that. And I'm getting shows, I'm putting out music, I'm starting to get radio play in Chicago and Wisconsin. So I'm trying to get more shows, expand, like, again, you got to be patient and you got to be humble about it, because at the like a lot of it is people kind of looking at you and be like, can I work with this guy, or is he going to be a flaky asshole? Because then I don't want to have anything to do with this shit.
Well, being a rapper, being in entertainment, period, is not for the weak of heart and the faint of heart.
Right.
And patience is a huge part of it. Because if you think for 1 second you're just going to blow up tomorrow, which a lot of these kids do because of the internet, that that there's a false idea that all they got to do is put a song out and all of a sudden it's just going to blow the fuck up. The people that it does happen to are still like 1 in a million.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
It most definitely doesn't happen without putting the fucking proper work in. Because and I love the things that you said about like you working and splitting your time between work and your music and your craft. And you're like, even on your break, you're like, oh, I'm writing, I'm doing this. And then when I'm off work, I'm recording. And then next thing you know, I got a song done. And a lot of people don't understand that, because when they hear something for the first time, it's very new to them. Little do they know that song could be 3-4 years old to you. It could just have been sitting in your archive, sitting in your shit, and then it's brand new to everybody else. I have beats and stuff that I'll send to somebody, and they're like, oh shit, little do they know it's like 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But it's brand new to them. But you're very right about putting in the work and being mindful of all that kind of stuff, because you don't get to the NBA by sleeping all day long and barely dribbling. You know what I'm saying? These guys, you got to be the first. Go ahead.
Also, like I kind of feel, and on that front, that I'm like, always interviewing for a job. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
if somebody sends me a beat, I'm not gonna disappear with it for 6 months. Like I'm gonna get back to you. And
that is exactly what it is. You're 100% right. That's basically interviewing for a fucking job. Because if you send something back and we go, oh fuck, definitely sending him more. You know what I mean? Definitely rocking with this kid. You know what I mean?
Like that's the other, when I was making this the last album that I put out, which is called Press Start, I would like start working with producers, and I think they actually said it, which is like I didn't take it seriously at first until like you came back and started showing me that like you're doing it. And then you know, when you're getting the stems and going into a professional studio to get the shit mixed, and then you're putting the vocals down, and then you're working with sound engineers who are capturing the cadence of your voice, like you're buying into the philosophy of working with people who know more than you, which I think I held on to that my entire trajectory. So that's what made me stronger, is that I could kind of be like, oh, well, I need to listen. This is a time when I need to listen, and I need to observe, and I need to kind of understand what this process is, so I can emulate a portion of that at home when I'm trying to think of it, because your creativity needs to evolve as well. I mean, before, honestly, I was just like kind of sitting there with the notebook, and now like over the years, I brought more gear and started like, you know, just working on shit at home all the time more. And people who know more than you, they're doing it at another level as well. And if you ever want to get close to that, you have to shut the fuck up and listen, and you have to kind of trust them when you're trying to achieve a new level of expression, which has a lot of technical stuff that goes into it that is beyond my skill set. But if you know where to find it and you know how to do it, your shit is going to sound so much more polished that, again, people are going to take you more seriously, because they're like, oh, this sounds like it was mixed at a professional studio. Like you can really tell.
Presentation all the fucking time. And this you couldn't have, for a person as humble as you are and as cool as you are, you know, as just a human being, you couldn't have picked a harder thing to do with your life. You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about that? You know what I mean? I mean, like, your journey just begun, so to speak, really. And you've already been years and years and years into it. And your journey may never end. You know what I'm saying?
It feels like,
depending on where your heart is.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Just, you know, small milestones happen every year. One very encouraging thing that happened this year is that I was able to get into the nomination for Best Individual Hip Hop Artist in the Chicago Reader, and that was because I had fans who voted for me and voted me into that. And I didn't win, but it was just like a gesture of like, hey, there's people who are paying attention to what you're doing, and they're like willing to support you if you continue to engage with them and put out material. And it's a lot of fucking work. And when people when your 20s start wearing off, like if you're still the guy that's walking around saying you're a rapper, you better have something to show for it, or it's kind of sad.
Right. Definitely.
Like, I got a song into the Field Museum for the Pandemics and Protests exhibit, and that was incredibly humbling and flooring, but also I was like, okay, like it's an indication that you're moving in the right direction.
Right.
Because how many people get to fucking put that credit on their shit that you get into a museum anywhere near it?
Not many. You're in the 1 percentile. You're in the 1 percentile, you know. But you know, one of the things that happens in music and as artists and everything, that, you know, we're so critical on ourselves a lot. You know, we're our own worst critics. And sometimes you have to be able to pat yourself on the shoulder and say, you know what, I did that. And shout out to you, man. Shout out to you for everything you've been doing, man. And pat yourself on. Don't forget, sometimes you have to pat yourself on the shoulder, because you are putting in the work. You are putting in the work, and you are doing the necessary things to be successful. So you have every right to pat yourself on the shoulder that sometimes, and you have to, and we all need to sometimes. You know, I do it sometimes. I'll be in the car by myself and I'll listen to something I made and I go, I did that shit. And motherfuckers can't tell me shit. Shout out to Skip Rock is in the building. He says, peace, Bob Rock.
Yeah, Skip Rock.
One love, y'all. Skip Rock is in the motherfucking building. Put a hand of applause for Skip Rock in the building. Another beautiful person, another great person to work with, another person that is constantly working on his craft, man. My hat's off to both of you guys, man. As long as I've known you guys have been really at the top of your game and really always trying to do better and improve and just grow, you know, as people too, man. And that's amazing to me, man. 100%.
Here's what I want to say about Here's what I want to say about Skip Rock. First of all, just as a person, one of the hardest working people ever. There was this thing where we would bump into each other around Chicago, and no matter where we were, both of us were always getting off of work or on our way to work. I just bump into this guy like at different places in the city,
or on your way to a rehearsal or some shit.
Or on the way to a rehearsal. Second thing, one of the most disciplined people that I know. Like, dude knows how to sword. He's a swordsman. Like, that's crazy. Like, who has that on there? You got to be like really precise with stuff like that. Like, it's really impressive.
He's a whole fucking samurai.
And then just MC and hip hop wise, like, I was lucky enough he agreed to bless a track on Press Start. He did a feature for me on Too Hot, and I think it's probably the second most popular song off that album, like hits wise, and it's because when he is on a song, he makes that song better.
Yes, 100%.
He was absolutely able to tune into the sound of it, and he just like made it 100 times more musical. His verse was awesome, just like blew me out of the water. And yeah, there was a reason that I tapped him.
Right. Yeah. Shout out to Skid Rock, man. One of the most amazing artists. I said it, you know, I say it all the time. I if I'm not mistaken, I introduced you guys together to each other. He says, love, bro. Likewise, I appreciate you, family. Very humbled to be a part of the classic album. Every joint. Press Start is a solid piece of work. You see that? That's what I'm saying. That is from your peer. That is from your peer. So sometimes, bro, and especially coming from a person like Skip Rock, who is a workaholic when it comes to this shit. Pat yourself on the shoulder. Pat yourself on the shoulder, son. You deserve it. You know what I mean? For real. And I've said it to everybody that would ever listen to me. You're one of the dopest motherfuckers I've ever met here in Chicago. You're dope as an MC. You're extremely talented as an entertainer. Once you're on the stage, I don't know what kind of button you flip, you're a totally different animal on stage. And it's amazing to watch you perform, bro. It really is. I've seen it with my own eyes, and to this day, I still think about the first time that I saw you perform. Every time I think of your name, a flash of you performing. I forget what coffee house it was, but you know, there wasn't that many people in there at first, but then once you guys got going and started doing your set, it place just exploded with people, and people were going nuts, and I was sitting in the back kind of just watching that shit and was just blown the fuck away. And at that point, because I'd met you, but I hadn't really talked to you. I met you through Mar. Yeah, DJ Mar. Shout out to DJ Mar once again. And I said to myself, after seeing you perform, I said, I'm working with that guy. There's no way in hell I'm not working with that guy. No way in fucking hell. And I've been fortunate enough to do some things with you, man. And a lot of gratitude to you, man. You're also a pleasure to work with, man. You're fucking hilarious in the studio, by the way. Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's part of the philosophy. You know what I mean? Like, people can tell what kind of what you were on when you're recording a song, and if you don't sound like you're having fun, people, why would anybody fucking have fun when they're listening to that shit? Like, that conviction comes out.
Right. And that's another. First of all, Shannon Blunt says again, been a fan and supporter of you, Bob Rock. Damn, he he made sure he didn't say you and Heat. All right, Skib, I see where you're at with it. We're gonna get on some more shit for sure. Yo, too, Heat Detector. Oh, okay, I got you. All right, yeah. They throw me in there in the last though.
He knew you was gonna need it.
Right, yeah. I need, sometimes I need to be baby fed a little bit.
Shout out to him for being in tune.
Yeah, shout out to Shannon Blunt. What a name too, right? What a perfect name called Shannon Blunt. And seriously, yeah. Man, imagine that. If my last name was alcohol, people would never think I would ever quit drinking. You know what I mean?
Well, good thing that it's not.
Yeah, good thing it's not. I quit drinking. So yeah, here's that part.
Good for you.
Skid Rock says, stop playing with it. Yo. So like yeah.
Damn.
How do I get on a Bob Rock album? Not me personally, because I'll pick up the phone and call your ass. But if I'm an up and coming rapper and I see and I hear your music and I'm inspired by you, how do I get a hold of Bob Rock? Is Bob Rock open to the young kid who says, man, I'm a fan. I want to get on. Can I get on one of your records? Can I get on your album? You know what I mean? What can I do? You gonna give that kid a chance?
I think it depends. And like the first thing, it's kind of like you guys remember that movie Fight Club?
Yeah.
It's like before they would let him into the Tyler Durden house, they had to like sit out in front and like wait for a certain number of days. And then if they couldn't wait and walked away, then they weren't really meant to do it. So like in the past, I've had people who they're very excited about music. They're like really eager to do it. And they're kind of like, hey man, can I be a feature? Can I get a feature on your next thing? And I'm kind of like, well, what have you
sit outside for 3 days and you'll see how much you want to do it.
Yeah. Right? It's kind of like, hey, how about this? Like if they've never put anything out, before, which is kind of the confusing part about hip hop, right? Because you kind of like, who's this guy? Like, hey, I like this too. Yeah, well, me and this guy, I listen to his songs. I feel like I probably would get along with this guy. I want to jump on it. It's like, okay, but like, what have you done? And then from like a technical standpoint, like, how are we going to help each other in doing this? And does it make sense right now? Like, maybe it would make more sense to like for that kid to try his hand at writing a song for the first time, or maybe trying to write an album for the first time, and then I'd feature on that. Because you see how that kind of makes more sense?
No, not really. What if he comes? What if he comes to you, but he's got the conviction. He's not that good of a rapper, but he's on top of it. Because I've had that happen where somebody comes in, they want to record, they want to do this, they're just shitty at what they do. But they have the work ethic of a fucking Hebrew slave. You know what I'm saying? They're really
that's work.
They just are consistent and they won't stop.
Hard.
Yeah, work hard. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even got to whoop him or nothing. He's already out there doing the shit. You know what I'm saying? But like what? Because I've had that happen, and I say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give this guy a chance while everybody else laugh. But the kid would work so hard, and now that kid is doing something so much bigger than all those other rappers that actually have quit at this point in time and have stopped doing music. And they're like, fuck that. I even hate the fact that I said I was a rapper, type shit. And this person's making a living and doing their thing, and you know what I mean? But it's a hard thing to gauge. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I try to give everybody a shot.
Here's one thing I will say. Yeah, 100%. Like if I want to help somebody, I should help them, and it shouldn't be because I think they're going to be on top one day and I'm not going to be. But really because it's like I owe the culture the encouragement that I received when somebody was like DJ Mar helped me a lot to understand music on a more complicated level, on a more complex level. His beats were much faster than what I was rapping over, which was that kind of like 90s, almost like that Lil Brother,
boom bap,
swingy, jazzy type of boom bap that was like that really anybody could rap over. When it started getting a little bit faster, I realized that like what I was saying and how I was saying it was really important. and it sort of taught me how to consolidate and how to more look at the art of delivery. And again, like there were just certain lessons that I would learn every year, and it was really the time that was the biggest teacher for me of like, I just gave a shit year after year as I would keep going. And I want somebody, I don't want to cheat anybody of that. I want to encourage them. I want to help them, but like they have to be into it at a certain level for it to be like, otherwise I'm kind of setting you up to fail.
Not really. Not really. I mean, think about this. It's something that I've always thought about, and this is why I kind of do the shit that I do. I'm open to teach and help anybody, really, as long as I can see that they're into it and they really are putting forth the foot. You know what I mean? Like really putting forth the effort. Remember, somebody always helped you in the very beginning and gave you a shot. I'm not speaking to you personally. I'm just speaking in general.
Sure.
Yeah. That somebody always gave somebody a shot when nobody else would. And I think that in this industry that we're in entertainment, sometimes that is lost in the process. That shit is lost in the sauce. It gets lost the more somebody
100%.
gets into it, or the more successful somebody gets, it gets lost. They forget, because actually, and I'm going to say his name, Sauce Walker, who's an internet fucking whatever, and we were conversating via email about him being on the show. And say what?
Don't do it.
No, I'm not going to talk bad about him at all. You know what I'm saying? But we're everything is cool, and I thought he was going to do the show, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm down," and whatever. The next email I get is like, "What's your budget?" I'm like, what the fuck? Did you read? Like I said, didn't you read my email, fam? We ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, well, how much can you come up with? And I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Then I hit him up, and I emailed him back again on some real shit. I'm like, man, don't you remember when you were first doing something and the people that gave you a shot? And I wrote to him. I said, you know, you being our show has the propensity to help to change 3 families' lives. It has that propensity. When you have millions and millions of followers and that type of outreach, you have the potential to really help somebody and bring them off the ground than people that are really out there trying to get it, just like you were back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I guess this is the kind of thing that I'm saying. Even when I was really, really young and in the process of just only doing it for a little while, I don't even remember how, but I got my hands on a 4-track recorder.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I got my hands on a 4-track recorder, there was like 3 months where I just kind of locked myself in my room and I was just playing with it to figure out how it worked.
Right.
And I was just like, every single day, I would just kind of like try to do something different with it. And it's that curiosity that sets people apart. Like when you got your first piece of gear, you know what I mean? Like, first of all, like, as far like you have to be twice as curious to be a producer as to be a rapper. Like a rapper, you gotta be bookish. You gotta have a personality. You gotta have something to say, and more importantly, you have to believe what you're saying. A producer, like MPCs, are not cheap, not by a long shot. You have
none of this shit is cheap.
None of this shit is cheap, and for a kid to save up that kind of money to get that kind of shit in the first place, just to play with it, that takes a certain amount of discipline that a lot of people don't have.
You know, it takes real discipline.
What?
To steal your first piece of equipment. I stole mine. I stole mine from
dedication.
I used to go into this music
because you wanted it so bad, right?
I wanted it so bad. I didn't have the money, and no matter how hard I worked, I wouldn't have been able to save the money because we were living in some pretty harsh times. And so any money that I did get working went towards the house. So like my mom took that shit.
Dedication wears different outfits.
Yeah. Dedication wears different outfits. And I used to go into this music store every day to the drum machine section, and I would stand there and I would just try to program. Like every fucking day after school. And one day I realized that I was in the back, and there was 2 doors. There was a door in the front and the door in the back where all the equipment was. And I had been going in there so much that nobody ever fucking bothered me. They never came back, checked on me, nothing. So I picked up a rolling TR-808 and walked right out that bitch.
Was it premeditated or are you caught up in the moment?
No, I was in the moment. It was totally in the moment.
I think that's the difference.
Yeah, and I took it home and I geeked out for like, but the thing is, I never stopped going back. I went back the next day and I was back there playing around with the drum machines and they go, hey, yesterday, did you see anybody suspicious in here? And I was like, no, why? What happened? Oh, somebody stole the drum machine out of here. And I was like, what? You know what I mean? Left there, went home and locked myself in the room and figured that motherfucker out. Yeah, but you're right. Like, I mean, I think I think there's the same amount of work that needs to be done. It's just different level. You know what I mean? It's just a different level type shit.
Number one is it can't just be I want to do this. It's I need to do this. I can't stop.
Yeah.
I'm kind of an impulsive person. Is one of my is a strength and a weakness of mine, and it's just that I'm sort of have this obsessive nature about certain things, and like same thing with records. I love music so much. I listen to it all the time. I mean, I give a shit when records are coming out. I follow the trajectory of different artists. I just I actually am in it as a fan and as somebody who's creating things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely a road that, like, when you really sit down and talk to artists, you know what I'm saying, you'll find a lot of commonality. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the same nerdy, geeky shit. A lot of the obsessive, compulsive behavior type shit. There's a lot of sleepless nights when you get an idea in your head and that idea just won't fucking go away, and you're staring at the fucking ceiling, going, "God damn it! If I just had, I can remember not having equipment and then just getting an idea and not being able to let that idea out of my fucking head and to let it materialize into something." You know, that's almost like a rapper getting an idea about a verse and then not having a pen and pad or something to write that shit down. Yeah.
Also, I want to say that, like, I think I had to compensate for exactly what you were saying before, which is like when you first saw me, you're like,
wait. You're not going to talk about any phallus shit, are you? You compensating?
No, but just saying, like that. I don't look like somebody who would be really good at rapping.
No,
and I kind of don't dress the part. I kind of don't really dress the part, and like there's a lot of people that I know, and this is not a knock on them, but they're like so fucking cool or so fucking fashionable that like they don't have to be that good at rap, or like they don't have to obsess over it because like they understand kind of the other side of it, which is like it's almost like sociology. It's like how to win friends and destroy your enemies type of shit. Like some people just have like the networking skill, they have the psychology, or they're like, really easy on the eyes. Like people who like somebody looks at them and they're like, oh, I could see this guy in a movie, like I could see this guy on TV.
Right. And that's why a lot of those people, I don't mean to cut you, but that's why a lot of those people start off rapping and end up being bigger somewhere else and doing something else as an actor, as a business person.
I feel like, honestly, you embody all those things to me, and that's like me prejudging.
Is that because you have the conversation that we're having with him? No, but have you seen that man at a coffee shop and he's like, "What would you want? Cream and sugar with that shit?"
I'm being dead ass honest.
Like, you wouldn't look at him at the coffee shop and go,
I would.
What about BOBROK says I'm a fucking focused rapper?
He listen. I'm serious. Like
he's focused on coffee.
I grew up around a lot of different people, and a lot of
fucking
people
with you, BOBROK.
A lot of people that I know that are like, I'm talking about hip hop heads. They look like you. So like I'm prejudging you. I'm walking down the street, right?
Yeah.
I would say to myself, he's some kind of fucking artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then maybe if I had a conversation with you, I would probably say to myself, well, he's very well spoken. I assume he's well read. He looks like you look like you have vinyl. Like you look like you got vinyl like, to me, and then
what is the vinyl look? Do I look like I have vinyl?
No, but the
only reason I don't have vinyl because it was stolen.
But you don't look like you have vinyl, but at the same time, you give me like Ice-T vibes. But
dude, this doesn't even know what this is.
But you even scream Pilsen to me. You know what I'm saying? Like
he is Pilsen.
But I'm saying he does. But and that could be because I have Pilsen experience. But I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
I think
that's where I learned to rap.
You look like hip hop to me. I mean, you just do.
Well, thank you. But also I want to say that I kind of have used that to my advantage, where people might see it as a disadvantage, and they would maybe start talking or dressing differently, and I was just like, I'm not gonna do it if I can't do it like this. Like if I can't, because I would be exhausted from trying to keep up some veneer. And then second, it's just like, I'm not that person. I can't pretend to be something like that I'm not. Because a lot of people,
I'm not going to pretend either. I'm not going to pretend that I didn't just hear her say Ice-T vibes, and then Shannon Blunt says, I found out Ice-T vibes. I don't know what the fuck that means.
I'm saying, like, if I'm walking down the street, what the hell? If I'm walking down the street and I see him, thinking to myself, like, yeah, I don't know what he's got going on, but I'm getting colors. Like I'm getting like, I feel like you said cuz like a few times.
I do cuz, but blood, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Well, I'm gonna let that shit ride tonight. I'm gonna let that shit ride tonight.
Whichever one you prefer. I'm just saying.
Hey man, I don't appreciate that shit. I really don't appreciate that shit. First of all, Ice-T has a fucking lisp. Okay, I don't have a lisp.
I didn't mean him literally, because
I got to see him perform live with Public Enemy, Crucial Conflict, and a couple others, and I was kind of floored at how short he was.
Yeah. TV makes you tall.
And as somebody who's only 5'7", I was like, hell yeah, go Ice-T. we need more representation in the game. You know what I mean?
Wow. Ice-T vibes. I'm not going to forget that shit.
I didn't mean it disrespectfully. I'm saying,
oh, it sounded real disrespectful.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
He's a pioneer.
You give me Ice-T vibes.
I'm saying
like a creep or like what? I mean, like what the fuck does that mean?
Ice-T a creep? I'm saying like hardcore rap vibes.
And the other thing is that
right out of you. Look at it.
And the other thing that happens is you walk into a room full of rappers, and then they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And then they kind of look up at you and they're like, "Okay, yeah, BOBROK, great." And then you then you perform and you have the best set of the night, and then they're like, "What's your name again?" And it's like, "Yeah, motherfucker." That's right.
I've seen. Hey, shout out to BOBROK for the motherfucker. Yeah. And shout out to BOBROK.
Part is, after that, you can just float back into the crowd and disappear. It's the best.
And let me tell you something. Shout out to you, BOBROK, because I've sat back and watched it happen. I've watched them go from you guys performing, a couple of people are watching, to the fucking floor just getting packed, and then you're dripping in sweat. The fucking set's over, crowd's going fucking crazy. You're floating around the fucking room, and I'm watching everybody suck your cock. And I'm sitting over in the back having a drink, watching everybody suck your cock. It's an amazing thing to see. It's a sight.
You know, especially thank you first of all, but especially back then, like we were, Marlon and I were both out of work. So there was nothing else to do, and we would both like work a little bit at Cafe Mestiza or something, or sometimes for like a small stretch of time, either of us would get a job. But for the most part, like every single day, we'd watch The Simpsons, and then we'd work on music for a little while, and then like go get some lunch, and then come back and finish working on a song, and then record a couple things. Like he taught me that like, yeah, you can absolutely be a slacker, but you gotta put the fucking work in. You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I don't even know.
And respect it. I just respect music so much more, and people who make it, and you know, and also I'm a little bit I don't know what the word is, defensive about it.
Why not? Why not?
Because like
think of this, man. Rap is your garden. Of course you're going to be defensive. Somebody steps on your flowers, you know what I'm saying? Step on your shit. That's nice. Of course you're going to be defensive. Of course you're going to defend it.
And every couple of years I get another. I'm just blessed with like starting to like understand it from a different level, and getting help from my friends who are also doing it. Like shout out to Andres RP from Greenlights Music, who like he really taught me a discipline of like studio discipline, which was something that I kind of struggled with, because I just like I panic a little bit in the studio, or I used to, but like now I'm so much more comfortable at it, and I could just write much faster and be more effective and have ideas in the studio. And somebody who actually invited me to incorporate humor, because I think people, they take themselves very seriously sometimes, and again, that goes against my philosophy of how I carry myself and navigate the world.
Right. And shout out, Greenlight Music is in the building, and they say love you, fam. They talking to you, I'm sure of it. They're not talking to me. All right, Greenlight's Music. I think they just subscribed. That's what's happening. That's what's up. Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate that.
And by the way, that's the label you're signed to, right? Or are you signed?
I mean, we're collaborating on a bunch of music. I'm not signed to a lot. We're both independent. We're putting stuff out. I've been going through the steps of like just making sure that all my shit on paper is right, and that I'm going and making sure that I'm like, that's the last milestone, is learning the business part of the business
part. I tell people that all the time. I said, if you're going to get in, first of all, it's also too, and I'm going to, and this is kind of a question and kind of not a question, because I already know the answer to it from you, because I know you. I tell this to people. I tell this to people all the time. Like, if you're going to be a rapper, don't be in the studio just being focused on rap, because you're going to miss everything right in front of you. And the last thing you want to do is have somebody tell you about your idea and your creation, your thing, and tell you, oh no, we can't do it that way. It has to be done this way, right? So as a rapper, you need to learn how to make beats. Even if it's the simplest of simple, you don't have to be overly technical.
100%.
You just have to know. That way, nobody's fucking with your shit. Nobody, you know what I mean? You're like, no. I did. That's purposely done. I need that to stay that way. And they're telling you, no, timing's not going to work, or blah, 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 blah. Engineering, you have to learn. You have to learn at least the engineering 101, beat making 101, and then back to the business. You know, that's the one thing that gets skipped over all the time. And I find artists coming in, they've been doing it for a while, this and that, and they have yet to be signed with BMI or ASCAP. They've yet to do, have any of these things done. And you're putting out music and you're just expecting all this shit to happen. And then when it does happen, you're not going to be fucking prepared. And at least be prepared minimally. At least that way, the first part of the first 2 days of conversation, you're already in it. You already know. Once it gets over your head, you already know that you need to go holler at somebody, as opposed to just sitting there for a couple of weeks and then they hand you a pen and you're going, oh, okay, I'll sign right here, boss. You know what I mean? You just have to. I mean, that's just one of the things. And I say that because it's a question that you're kind of answering along the way. So that's a thing that you've done in your process as being an artist, right? Not just writing music.
Not just writing music, but making sure that the publishing is right. I started my own LLC last year to start like capturing all of that and to start writing off the stuff that I am purchasing and itemizing shit and just being more mindful of the entire process, planning better, and then just doing it a hell of a lot more. And by doing it, I mean studying it. Listening to podcasts about it, watching tutorials on YouTube about stuff, following the right people, just observing, asking questions. I mean, I'm just naturally a curious guy, but that's where there's probably more money coming from a properly set up release than you think versus something that is theoretically popular on social media, but you're not really seeing anything from that because it's not set up in the right way.
It's not monetized. It's not set up to be monetized. And that money actually goes to somebody. And you'll be hard pressed. And it happens to a lot of people. Like they'll put a song out, goes viral. By the way, Shannon Blunt says, ask BOBROK, what's good with the stand-up? So that's another question everybody wants to know.
I'm also curious to know.
What's good with the stand-up?
What's good with the stand-up? Still doing it. I actually do a show monthly in Milwaukee at Laughing Liberally at the Comedy Sports space over there. I just premiered a show that I co-wrote with my friends. It was kind of like with music and costumes and stuff, and that went really well. So we're trying to figure out a way to bring it to Chicago. And then me personally, I'm just like doing stand-up all the time. And I'm doing a show in May as well at the Annoyance Theater. I got to start plugging that now that the May's here. But I'm working on stand-up all the time. Again, that's like another big part of my life is just that's why I have such a relaxed demeanor on stage, is because before I started doing music, I was doing stand-up for a really long time, and I got comfortable with failure.
Right.
I think it's the most important thing. Just falling on your face, just shit not hitting, shows not going well, just all of it, just the entire myriad of shit.
Check this out, BOBROK. I got the perfect bit for you, and you can have it. I've been sitting on it for a long time, but it's a really good one. There's
say the comics. Go ahead.
No, check it out though. So it's something you can work on, and you can make it into something. Okay. You ready for this? Mm-hmm. A married vampire couple.
A married vampire couple.
You know, vampires don't get married, but imagine if they were. You know, he'd be like, you're still pissed off about that? That was 500 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, some shit like that. You know, you get it? You're still fucking mad?
I'd bite.
You know what I mean? That was 1,000 years ago, and she meant nothing to me. You know what I mean? That's why she's still in the basement in the coffin. Anyways, yeah, but it's a good bit if you know how to write it out.
You're a sick
yeah, it's a good bit.
I love it.
I think it is. You know what I'm saying? Because I've actually done stand-up comedy, man, once. So I had a graphic arts teacher, and he was like, "Man, you're funny as fuck. You need to try it at least once." And ever since that first time I tried it, he said, "Stick to the beats." I'm a funny motherfucker, man.
How long was your thing?
I only went on stage once, and I actually went on stage with it was an open mic, and some of these guys were not famous at the time. What was his name? Mike Curry,
Mark Curry.
Mark Curry, and there was that English guy. He's got like long gray hair, always wears it in like a ponytail. I forget, but at that particular time back in the day, he called himself the king of the dick jokes, and he was not funny at all. And there was a white kid from Oakland, I forget his name, but he ended up being famous, you know, some years later, and worked with Mark Curry on his show, Mr. Coach or whatever. Mr. Cooper, yeah.
That's my shit.
But those guys, I was on stage with those guys, and yeah.
But I mean, how long was your set?
What you mean? Like after about 3 minutes, they were flashing the light for me to get the fuck off the stage.
That's that open mic stuff.
They talk about people who are funny, like, you know, naturally in conversation versus actually fucking putting on a stand-up performance.
It's something that I still think about doing. It really is. But I do understand it.
You absolutely should. I found that it had a lot of the same tenets as hip hop, because what divides people from being the funniest person in your friend group and being a really good comedian is the discipline of writing and performing as much as possible, and starting to be able to read the room and put material together that has a rhythm that you know you're gonna get from one subject to the other in a really natural way, and you're kind of putting jokes in between the jokes to get to the, like, planning shit out, basically arranging it and then performing it, which is like something that takes a long time to sink in, that you gotta. That's where, like, I kind of take the MC part to heart, where, like, if you're calling yourself an MC or a rapper, like, are you a master of all ceremonies?
Are you?
Because
I can go from medium to medium. I could stand in front of a band. I could perform with the DJ. I could do sketch. I could do comedy by itself. I could do, you know, music.
Okay,
I'm right now. I'm learning.
Now you're just bragging.
I mean, that's that shit. You know what I'm
now
saying?
you're just bragging.
That's that.
That's what that to me is what an MC is, and it takes a really.
No, I'm fucking with you now for sure. Like, yeah, you got to be able to do that.
And that probably would be cathartic for you too, like performing. Like, I mean, that's a hell of a release. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then imagine if people actually were feeling your shit and they got it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to be funny, but will they get it?
Yeah, they get it? Yeah. Well, they'll get the vampire joke, and I want everybody to remember that I gave that to him as a gift.
When that turns into an SNL sketch in a couple.
And then an SNL sketch or that Netflix special.
Or you should keep that shit for yourself. And 1 year from now.
No, I just gave it away to him. I got 1 million of them. Don't worry about it.
I mean, for real. Like a year from now.
I got 1 million of them. Trust me.
We need to a year from now.
Trust me, I got 1 million of them.
We need to be preparing for.
You don't want to hear the one about the earthworms, okay? Oh. But shout out to Shannon Buck because once again, Skip Rock says he'd stick to making beats and being an excellent podcast host. I had to throw that in there. Thank you very much, sir. What were you going to say, Mr. Bob?
I just want to say there's also like moments that happen like from when you're performing live that you're kind of chasing that for a long time because that's
almost like a crackhead. You're chasing that first high all the time. Yeah,
big time.
Yeah, most definitely is. That's
I
what
remember like out of an 80s movie, the first time that I performed in front of a really, really big crowd, and that's what made it really real to me. After that, like I went into hyper focus mode and I started working on my first album. But like I had written a couple of songs and I was getting nice on those songs, but like I hadn't really performed in front of a huge crowd before. And my friend, D-Nick the Microphone Misfit, shout out to D-Nick the Microphone Misfit and the Microphone Misfits, they got a gig at the Kinetic Playground, which is a venue that's across the street from the Aragon.
Okay.
And they got a gig opening for Saul Williams.
Okay.
So I went to that gig just to like support. And I swear, this is my friend, like he couldn't talk. He had like something wrong with his throat. So he's like, my throat's giving out with every song. You got to do a song to take us out. So I was like, what? And it's kind of like, this is your moment, kid. Like every 80s.
like you felt like Rudy. You felt like Rudy in that football movie.
I can't perform. You got to do it now. Just believe
in
yourself.
Kid.
Like that type of shit.
You're grease lightning.
So then I got out there and I did Comfortable Clothes, which is a song off my first album. And every bar was hitting and like 300 people went absolutely insane. And that moment, it solidifies something in your head. It just was like, yeah, I like this. Yeah, this is I'm going to chase this for the fucking rest of my life until the few moments that you get for it to happen again. And it's just like,
you chase that shit forever. That's
big time.
I had something motivated. Like that. I first time in a studio, and mind you, I was still making beats and shit off of my stolen drum machine and DJing and but I was telling everybody I know how to make beats. And I got invited to a studio. I'd never even outside of a magazine had never seen an MP60. And back then, if you said you knew how to do something, they just told you, if you got the opportunity to be in the studio, they're like, all right, there it is, go ahead. And I remember just like shitting my pants first and then just kind of thinking about, that's why I tell people all the time about when they see a piece of equipment, it's like, if you learn one, it's not going to be that difficult to learn the next one because the buttons and everything are just going to different places, different names, same shit. So it took me a second and they were like, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing, but I figured it out. And I ended up making this beat that in my mind was sloppy as fuck, but they all lost their fucking mind. And that was a moment, that I said, I can fucking do this shit. I can fucking do this shit. To come in there and not know what the fuck I was doing and then have them off. Well, in my, like, that maybe that was my own insecurities, but the pressure of it, having to perform and do that was what got me through it. But just like after that moment was like, I'm on, you can't say shit to me now. I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? So I understand that 100%.
Especially when you realize that like most people run away from those exact situations.
Right.
Like people dread speaking in public, let alone performing something in public. Like for the most part, attention from a large crowd is like kryptonite to a lot of people versus like running towards it.
Well, you have to have a level of narcissism. You have to be a little bit narcissistic in order to be a performer or an entertainer.
Terrible fucking stage fright.
I can't tell because you talk more shit than anybody that I fucking know in any room, anywhere, anytime.
You know what? Like it took, like, I mean, even now I'm pretty sure like if I was in front of a crowd, I might be jittery. But like when I was like a teenager, like I played basketball for a long fucking time, and like I remember the first game I got sick as fuck, and then like I was in gospel choir back in the day.
You didn't dunk. Don't tell me that shit. Don't tell me you dunked. You didn't dunk. You're like, and then when I dunked, I just knew this shit was for me.
The point I'm trying to make is everything that I ever did, like I was almost like gassed up and pressured by other people. And it wasn't that I didn't have the ability to do whatever it was. I'm talking about any arena. I was like losing my shit internally.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then like I just had to be like, look, motherfucker, you signed up for this shit.
Right.
What the fuck you gonna do? The worst part though was in high school we had this like choir thing. So we had to fucking sing this song for Black History. So it was a Missy song and it was Missy, Key Sweat, some other motherfuckers.
Key Sweat? What fucking high school did you go to?
It was Missy, LSG, Faith, and SWV. So
what the fuck?
we all had parts. So this wasn't no shit where like your voices are blending. Like we had fucking solos. So we practiced. Like it took me, I was a little nervous when we did it amongst each other. But when we had to do that shit in front of the fucking school, like I was like, listen, don't fucking talk to me. I need to go over here in the corner. I need to just, me and Jesus need to do some things. And then when it's time for me to show up, I'm gonna do my shit.
You got there in front of the mic and you did your whole part like this with your head down.
No, I was cool.
Listen to me now.
No, I was cool. I just had to like, I had to do my own shit, but like I know what that shit feels like though. And I don't know what that is because it's like on the other side of that shit is freedom.
Yeah.
Like, but what the fuck is
absolutely.
that? It's awful.
Nah, I love it. Like you gotta, like I said, you have to be a little narcissistic in order to do this shit. Like you really honestly do. You can be humble as fuck, but inside there is a want, a desire, and a need for that thing, that love, that energy, that want, that energy. The people want you. They want to hear you. They want to, you know what I'm saying? You have to have it. If not, you're doomed for fucking failure to me. I mean, and I'm just speaking for myself. I don't know shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it's a true thing. Like even every time I make a beat and I'm just like, fuck, this shit is fire, but there's nobody here to hear it. I kind of lose my mind. I start calling motherfuckers. Hey man, what are you doing? Nothing. Hey, want to hear this beat? I just, man, you know what I'm saying? And here I'm a grown ass man, and I'm still like a child with it when it comes to that kind of shit. So I understand it like 100%. Constantly chasing.
Makes all the difference in the world.
Oh yeah, inspiration, all that shit, and it all comes from all of the people around us. You know what I mean? I get inspired by someone like yourself. You know what I mean? When we sit, we do a show with someone like you and like Skid Rock and others, and I go, fuck. And then even and I don't mean to bring it up again, but even quitting drinking and being clear-minded, and I'm over here now I'm just like totally refocused and reinvigorated and re-inspired. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm like, yeah, thanks. And I'm really like, but I'm not even really hyper focused on working with anybody. I just feel like I got so much shit I need to get out of me. And that's it. Yeah. Now, if it happens that people love it and somebody wants to use it for their album or whatever, I don't give a shit. Go ahead. We'll work out the legalities later. I don't even give a fuck. I just need to get it out of my system. Do you ever feel like that? That like you just, there's nothing that's going to stop you because there's something inside of you that says, I got to get this shit out of my system until there's nothing left.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's absolutely that urge, the compulsion. I can't stop doing this. I can't. Right. I listen to beats for hours all the time. I seek out playlists and stuff. I also, there's like people who like, that I get it. They see something on TV and they want that. They want to be that. But it's like there are people who even have more motivation and more drive than me. Like, I admire that. Like, it's crazy. It takes everything.
Yeah, and not to harbor on this drinking shit, but it's really funny that, and I only bring it up because even drinking, I still couldn't do without the music. So even though I was not as focused and even though I was not whatever, I still could not have my equipment. That shit is for my survival in life.
Yeah.
I have to have this shit near me. There's no way I can fucking, and I don't even think that people understand that when I say that I really mean it. This is like not just a getaway for me, it's a release. Do you find that as an artist, the more like especially the deeper and the more focused that you get into it, that you find yourself this is your life blood, so to speak?
Yeah. I started taking piano lessons like
during the pandemic.
Yeah,
or was it during the pandemic? Because I remember following you and I'm like, this motherfucker picked up the piano. And then I watched you because you were posting videos little by little. First it was all tink, clink, 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 clink. And next thing you know, it turned around and this motherfucker's like, ring, ring, I was like, look at this cocksucker over there.
I started doing that in an effort to understand music more, because I always kind of felt weird about not knowing how to play an instrument.
Right. Well, here's the thing.
I don't know why.
Once you learn, you learn that sonic shit, like how sounds go together, how they need to be in tune together, all that shit. Once you hear that shit, you cannot unhear it. You cannot unhear it in music, and you, especially someone that calls herself a producer. And then you hear that like this piano's playing in this chord, this piano's playing, or this over here is playing in a whole different fucking key. The shit is off. And sometimes that off shit does work, but it's very rare. You know what I'm saying? And you watch other people nodding their head and you're like, I don't know why they're nodding their head. This shit sounds like, I don't even know what the fuck. They just threw everything in a blender and said, fuck it, here it is. But that's also to me being critical as a producer. So yeah.
Because you're 100%. Like I started doing it just because I wanted to understand music more, but then I kind of, now that I'm like a year and a half into it, I kind of discovered that it's nice to have like a hobby or an interest that kind of has nothing to do with anything else that I'm doing. Like it is like related to like hip hop and stuff, but it's also kind of just like this thing that I do that I like practice every day, or like learn how to play new songs and read music. Like it's its own thing in the background, and it is reinforcing things that I already knew and stuff, and it's giving it another dimension of understanding. But like more importantly, it's like it's my thing, and it doesn't have anything to do with anything else. It's kind of nice to have that as an adult.
So you haven't went to a cocktail party one day and they go, did you know that Nico, he's been working on the piano? No, you got your drink in your hand. You're like, no, I can't. And everybody's like, no, please. They all move out of the way and there's this big grand piano sitting there and you're like, no, I can't. All right, I'll do it.
And then I play hot cross buns.
Right. You play chopsticks for like 2 hours.
Chopsticks.
Hot cross buns. Hilarious.
Well, look, go ahead, man.
Well, just the last thing is that a lot of people don't have the patience to be bad at something for a really long time.
Yeah.
And especially rap, it's like when you're bad at rap, like you're bad at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Even when you start like to get a few concepts down, like it's still going to be a long road, and just people don't have the patience with themselves, or like the threshold of being embarrassed for a while, you know?
Right. You got to be able to take it all, the bitter and the sweet to it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to, and you trust me, you're going to have a lot more bitter than your moments than you will have sweet. But the sweet ones count, man. They count for real. And they mean everything. They're the reason that you keep doing it, and the reason that you get up every day and you say, fuck, I need to make some more motherfucking music. And how can I quit this job so I can do this shit 24/7? I ain't got to answer to nobody.
You got to live a life too. Like you got to be having experiences. You have to be interacting with the city that you're in. You have to be getting your fill of culture from somewhere. You have to be like going places and doing stuff, because that's all fuel for what you're going to like bring out of it. You can't just There's people.
You can't lock yourself in a room.
That's the only thing they do. Well, I mean, you should lock yourself
let me
in
tell
a
you
room
something.
for sure. But like, you gotta like
in the fucking room, and didn't nobody say that shit to him?
They probably did.
They did. I just watched the special on it. They just telling me, you got to get the fuck up out this basement, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta, I like
something to be said.
I guess what I mean by that is like, I got these Krusty the Clown patches a couple months ago, and then I got these yellow. They're not like real Chucks because they don't have the star on the side. And I sewed the Krusty patches into the yellow canvas shoes, and then I got these like neon green shoelaces to match the Krusty the Clown green hair, because I'm just a humongous fan of The Simpsons. And like creating things out of nothing, and the awareness that you can create things out of nothing even if they don't exist, that's a really important thing to realize, because I'm not the type of person that needs to walk around anymore and find inspiration. I need mostly to just sit down and find focus and do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, shout out to you, man. This has been amazing, and we're already working on 2 hours, so we need to cut this one. We got to get you on here for a part 2. Actually, it'll be a part 3, but nobody saw the part 1 because of my co-host. But I think she got a little redemption tonight. This is part 1. We'll have to revisit it. We'll call it part 2 of part 1, the redemption part 2.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We'll call it redemption, the walk through the fire. Okay, that's
redemption song.
Walk through the fire, and some fucking electric guitars solo. You know, electric guitar solo. We'll get that shit done. So BOBROK, it has been fucking amazing, bro. We have had a great time. We look at this shit. The time just fucking flew by.
Oh, wait. Tell everybody how to get, because you got your TikTok and your everything. Tell people everything.
Absolutely. So I've actually this is part of it.
Wait.
Okay. Yeah.
We have some real dummies out there, so you're gonna have to like say it slow
and spell it
out.
For sure.
Okay.
Spell it out.
Here we go. Your time to shine.
Everything is been centralized into one place, and it is at BOBROKrules.com.
Spell that out.
BOBROKRULES.com.
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 BOBROK Rules. See how stupid motherfuckers? I'm that stupid. See? I'm that stupid. I said Bob Rules. See what I'm saying? So BOBROKrules.com. That encompasses everything. They can find all your Instagram shit. They can find your YouTube shit.
All the Instagram, all my music, everything.
You got anything coming up? Anything out there like that for in the foreseeable future, or anything out there that maybe people haven't heard? They can go and go get and cop. Any shows coming up?
I'm still definitely plugging my album that I put out recently, which is called Press Start.
Press Start. See how stupid I am? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then, like I said in the beginning of the show, I'm working on or just finished up work on a new album that I'm releasing with Greenlights called Solid Gold Gravy.
Solid Gold Gravy with the funk.
Solid Gold Gravy, funky funk. And we're going to be premiering that at Reggie's on May 27th at 8 p.m. And we're going to be, it's going to be a full live band there. Reggie's is an excellent venue.
Beautiful venue. Nice place for that kind of shit. Great place for that.
Come get the album. And then I put out a couple of albums with Greenlights. Like I said, we put out an album called Beautiful Mood. We put out a single with them called Oh No. Like we are always working. We're always putting music out. And, you know, I just want to say thank you for helping me over the years, George. Thank you to everybody.
Hey, whoa. Don't be saying my government over the goddamn airwaves. That's hate detector to you, sir.
Oops.
Wait a minute, what the hell?
Yeah, come on, man. I'm saying George. Who's that?
Heath, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you. You know, just for creating a space like this, just having this podcast out is incredibly encouraging to people, and it helps them kind of.
Thanks, man. I couldn't do it without my co-host and
right.
my hacking ass engineer.
Goddamn right.
So shout out to them as well. You know what I'm saying? As much as I like to think that I'm charismatic enough to carry a show by my motherfucking self, I'm honestly not. So shout out to them. You know, I couldn't do it without them as well. You know what I'm saying? So they can toot their little fucking horns whenever they toot them. Okay. Excuse me. Again, shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for being on the show. It has been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. And I want to apologize on behalf of my co-host for fucking up the first show.
My bad.
And I will take a little bit of responsibility for that. I will take 0.0000001% of accountability. You know, it is some accountability, so I don't want to hear shit.
Every little bit counts.
Every little bit counts. Every little bit counts. Right. So with that being said, hey, everybody out there, can I get a little echo on my shit?
Oh shit.
Can I get a little bit of echo on my shit? Okay. Hey. Shout out to BOBROK that has been in the motherfucking building. Shout out to UNRAP the podcast. And I need you motherfuckers to like, subscribe, hit that notification, hit them goddamn thumbs up. And you know, you hear that music.
I hear it.
Ooh, can we get some juice on that, Playboy? Shout out to BOBROK.
Thank you for having me.
Press start. Take your monkey ass to motherfucking Reggie's and check out that solid gold gravy. You know what I'm talking about? This has been UNRAP, baby. We about this bitch. See you next Friday.